All right. Please subscribe to the Smiths Haunted Ghost Tube, Tyler Nolan, and the Grim Life Collective. If you're into spooky shit, the Grim Life Collective has it all. It's fantastic. If you're into snakes, poisonous shit, Tyler Nolan's got a great channel, and he's a world-renowned tattoo artist. Let's see. Okay, just so everybody knows, we have a zero tolerance policy regarding bullying and harassment. You come in here to start shit, you're going out the door head first. That's the end of it. Also, this is very important. If anybody has any information on Anthony Pergiano, and I'm not talking about gossip, not talking about nonsense, I mean certifiable stuff, please email me at mobtalkradioshow@gmail.com. We will not mention your name, but it is imperative that if you know anything about this guy, you send it to me. I never do this. What I'm about to do is going to shock everybody, but I'm just going to do it. There you go. There's my PayPal. If you guys want to donate, you can. It's not a big deal. I'm not even going to leave that up very long. To me, this isn't about money. It's just sort of about bringing you guys organized crime news. I make enough doing other stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and click off that. That's really not needed for this show. We're going to talk about Ray Liotta tonight a little bit, and it's really going to be open forum, whatever you guys want to talk about. There is some stuff to talk about organized crime wise, but I'm going to have to be a little surreptitious in how I talk about that, just because it involves people, and I try to look out for people. And oh God, Nature Voice present. That's fantastic. That's hilarious. Mob Kings and Infamous Rats. How you doing, buddy? John, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Terrell Thomas, I hope everything's going on well with you. I hope you're staying safe out there on the roads. Let's see. Joseph, how are you? West Texas Burrito, your last show was great. If you're talking about the Sammy Gravano thing, yeah. Wait till the documentary comes out. In fact, let me just play it. It's only like 13 fucking.
The Teflon is gone, the Don is covered with Velcro, and every charge in the indictment stuck.
And so what that basically is, I have let out some information, but I've got bigger stuff that we haven't released yet. And I'm not going to release it publicly till the documentary is done, because it's pretty explosive. And a lot of people, I think took issue with it, saying, oh, there you go, bashing Gravano, you're a Gotti fan. And if you listen to what I said, it was never about John Gotti being innocent of anything. It comes back to the foundation of, if you are going to be assailed by the Justice Department, you're going to be indicted, then they should have some evidence. If your evidence is based on the words of another man, then I don't know what to tell you. Because I don't know how, hey, Rosie, how are you? Looking for the truth. I don't know how many of you have ever been in trouble, and don't put it in the chat that you have. But the reality is this, okay? People lie. Juries are not bright. And that's not to say that people that are going to jury duty are stupid. I'm not saying that. But there's a complexity to organized crime cases that a jury just can't understand. If they've watched Goodfellas, and that's the way the government always tries to weave an indictment, is they always begin an indictment, and I know this is regurgitated information, but they always begin an indictment with a historical reference to what organized crime is. The problem is that they don't follow that up with, but by the way, it's not illegal to be a member of anything. If so, the Masons would be in prison, the Shriners, the Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the Girl Scouts, they'd all be in prison. They'd all be in federal lockup. And that's sort of the issue. Norman, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will get to, that's a great question. I'll answer that right now. I do think so. I think so. But then again, I think if Caponegro took over, I don't think Nikki Scarfo would have fucked around. I got to be honest with you. But I could be wrong about that. Pound on the pink field. How you doing, buddy? Let's see. Peter. DB got whacked. Sammy took over his porn records. Yeah, well, and that's one of the things that we talked about. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go over to my YouTube and go down to the Sammy Gravano thing, and we pretty much lay it out. Some people took some impetus with what I said, saying, well, how can you prove this? How can you not? If I'm reading directly from court transcripts, if I'm reading directly from a 302, if I'm using Gravano's words against him, then how can I be telling you a lie? Those are his words, not mine. These are affidavits from prosecutors. These are their words. So anybody that's coming to me saying, oh, you're making this up and that up, it's coming from court documents. I've got probably close to 3,000 pages for this particular issue. So, at the end of the day, I don't particularly mind anybody with an opposite opinion. I really don't. But I think that if you've never really been in the streets, you didn't grow up around that kind of stuff, you can't teach that. Okay. So I want to address one thing really quick. Hold on, let me answer this question. I sent you an email, Pounding, about that. I'm going to fix that. I've been trying to sign up for all the access pass, but clicking the join button don't work. Yeah, a lot of people have been telling me that. I don't know what's going on, but let me figure that out over the next 2 days. Tom Sheehy, how you doing? Brooklyn Rob, what's shaking? Hello to everybody. I totally lost my train of thought where I was going with this. Can somebody remind me what the fuck I was talking about? I know I was talking about so RJ, who runs the Black Handprint Mafia webpage. Okay, so a lot of people came to me and said to me that he said that the Patriarchas didn't exist and the Philly Mafia didn't exist. So let me address that. I went over to RJ's channel and I looked at, he's got a lot of videos, right? I looked at a lot of those and I never heard him say that. So people that were telling me that were not being honest with me. That is my fault for not doing my research. And that it falls on my shoulders. So RJ, I apologize to you profusely for that. I don't think it was right, but as a man, I was wrong. And what I should have done rather than listen to people is just investigate for myself. I always tell you guys, investigate, research on your own. This is the one time I didn't do it. And it's a little embarrassing, but it is what it is. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. We're probably always going to have a little bit of differences of opinion, but that's okay. He's no dummy by any stretch of the imagination. So RJ, on behalf of myself, I apologize. I was wrong. And I have no problem doing that. I wish other people in this genre would do that, but that just does not seem to be the case. But like a man, I own up when I'm wrong or I've done something wrong. So here you go. This is me saying I apologize. So let me get into one other thing. You didn't miss anything, Jim. We're just shooting the shit. Chris the Cop, how you doing? Be safe this weekend, buddy. I'm going to talk about Ray Liotta, but first I want to talk about something in South Philadelphia, and I'm not going to get into really any of this, but for a couple of weeks we've been talking about, specifically on the podcast, which I'll throw the link up right here, right now. I get into more details over on my podcast than I do sort of on YouTube. And there's no real particular reason for that, but I believe that if people are paying for something, then I got to give them the extra. And that's what I do on the podcast. So if you really want in-depth details, if you want a biography on all 5 families from beginning to like 2002, that's where you need to head. But remember when we always talk about when you're going to make, when you're going to agree to a plea deal. Okay. I just want to make this perfectly clear. Just because you accept a plea does not mean you're guilty of it. Okay, the government works in a couple of different fashions. The first thing that they'll do is they'll bring every rat known to man out who you know is going to lie about you. Okay, then you have wiretaps. Wiretaps can be sometimes hard to beat. Let's just be honest. The third thing that they will do is they will saddle you with people that have worse allegations than you. And a part of that tactic is getting you to plead guilty, because they know that if they saddle you with somebody looking at 20 years and what they've done is horrific in terms of what you've actually been accused of, then it forces you to do a couple things. It forces you to fight, which is going to cost you $250,000. The best case scenario, you get acquitted, but that's not normally the standard. The standard is usually a mistrial. You get a mistrial, they can refile those charges. Well, lawyer might cut you some slack on the price, but you're still going to have to pony up a ton of fucking money. So the government can keep bringing mistrial after mistrial after mistrial till they do one of two things. Either until 1, they bankrupt your ass, or 2, you finally give in. So that's why a lot of guys plea. There was, from my knowledge, a plea agreement to a situation in Philadelphia that's calling for 6.5 years, which is, depending on what you personally believe, I think that's a good deal, considering there were some very serious charges. But what that does for the remaining people that are involved is it sort of sets a guideline, and it sets a guideline for them to be able to say, okay, these were like heinous shit charges. I don't have those charges. I have things that are a lot less. So if they're willing to sort of play ball with him and give him this sort of number, maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel. But the problem with that, like we said last week, and like we say on the podcast all the time, is, you have to look at your criminal history category, because that is going to enhance the time. Now, such things as, let's say you were accused of murder, but you were acquitted of those charges. The government can still use that against you. And that could raise your criminal history. So it really all falls really in different zones. There's zone A, zone B, so zone C, and zone D. But it just, it really, it's amazing, because if you look at base offense levels, just in drugs, just for example, they have entire different levels for cocaine, for crack, for meth, for actual meth, for marijuana, heroin, and LSD. So if you're selling drugs, they can break down which drug they think is worse and give you more time because of that. And in my opinion, a drug is a drug is a drug. So it's a little crazy how they do things. But like my buddy Frank here in the chat says, that you only have to win once. And that is true. That is true. But if you've got a pass, do you really want to gamble with that? And that's really where it comes from. Wrenches, do me a solid. If people are going to come in here and they're going to say crap, just immediately throw them out. We don't need the nonsense. Oh, wow. Ridiculous. Unreal. Sorry, I put that on the screen, everybody. Really. I mean, obviously, and I know who these people are and why they're coming here, and I know who they're fans of. So it doesn't surprise me one bit, but we're just going to keep moving. Just going to keep going. Oh, look, another one. This is funny. None of these people would say anything to me. This is funny. Yeah, just keep getting rid of them. They're just going to keep coming into here. I know who they support and why they're doing what they're doing. So let's just keep it moving. So in that particular case, there may be more plea agreements. I'm not really sure. Philadelphia does things a little bit differently. They tend to treat organized crime like everybody's Al Capone, and I won't understand it, and I don't understand it. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So just really quickly before I open it up to all of you guys, we've got 74 in here. Do me a favor, just hit the like button if you can. But Ray Liotta, what a hold on a second. Let me answer Tom. Did I hear that correct, Jeff? Found not guilty can still be used. Yeah, no, absolutely. There was a particular, I'll give you a reference point. In Joey Merlino's trial, they brought up accusations in their final sort of lament to the cop or to the judge that, Your Honor, this guy has been accused of murder and three separate murder charges. He was acquitted of them, but they can still bring those up because they look at that as a character reference. And to me, if you're acquitted of something, they shouldn't even be able to bring it up. But here's the difference in this country, Tom, because I don't know if you're aware, is they can do that against defendants, but the defendants cannot do that against the informants. And it's fucked up. It's a fucked up way. I've seen it time and time again. And I'll give you a great reference point. J.R. Rubio, who was an informant in Joey Merlino's case, was a horrible informant, piss poor informant, got caught lying, was trying to shake down the United States attorney by getting more money out of them, a better term out of them. He was caught on the phone in jail when he's not supposed to have a phone, saying that he's going to try to get Joey Merlino at 100,000 years or 1,000 years in prison because he hates him. And so, he's not doing it for the right moral obligation. He's doing it because he doesn't like the guy, right? And then he also, while he's in prison, uses a phone and tries to get a book deal with George Anastasia. And then he also has a moment where he starts screaming that aliens are landing in the prison yard. And it's probably because he wanted to get out of general population and go hang on the nut ward with all the other rats. But here's the thing. All of those tapes that were caught with Rubio doing this were not allowed to be played in prison, or not allowed to be played in that trial. And I'm sorry, but I personally think, and even to add to that, When you're a government informant, okay, you have to be supervised by the FBI. 94 of 111 days, J.R. Rubio went unsupervised by the FBI. He was told not to have relationships. He went and did that. He beat the crap out of his wife. These are all things he was not supposed to do while he was under the protection of the FBI. And these are all things he did. 94 of 100, what was it, 94 of 114 days, the FBI didn't check in with him. Okay. When he handed in all his material to the FBI, I'm undercover, this is what I'm doing, he had deleted things off of his phone. So things were complete. So from A to Z, he really screwed up the whole case for the fucking government. And then to trump that, when he gets, once that trial's over with, he literally goes on a podcast and starts saying that he framed people to go to prison. And was bragging about it, and he got arrested and got in big trouble for that. And so from my perspective, if you're going to be impugned character-wise by an informant, why can't you impugn his character? Because isn't that fair? That's just my point of view. I don't expect anybody to agree with me, but that's sadly how it works. What's up, Marco? How are you doing? Anyway, we've got 80 in here. Let's see. All right. Brooklyn Rob, I was put away by Iraq, but we still have the best system in the world. No, I mean, yeah, I in comparison to third world countries, no, absolutely. Absolutely. But it is what it is. So Ray Liotta, what a shame. Great actor, great character actor, a Jersey guy. He's actually not Italian. I know a lot of you think he is, but he really isn't. He's actually Scottish. He was adopted as a kid, but he was raised by Italians, so therefore he's an Italian by adoption. But a lot of people always thought he was, but he actually isn't. One of the more unique things about, hey, Mickey Griggs, how are you? Is one of the great things about Ray Liotta is he played a junkie cop better than anybody I've ever seen in my life. He could play, I don't want to label the guy by calling him a character actor, but that's really what he was. He just played roles a certain kind of way. Some of just the films that I'm not going to go through all 126 films, but I'll tell you all of the films that he's really known for. Something Wild, which was his breakout role in 1986. Field of Dreams, he played shoeless Joe Jackson in 1989. Goodfellas, 1990. Unlawful Entry, 1992. Turbulence, 1997. Copland, 1997. The Rat Pack in 1998. Hannibal in 2001. Blow in 2001. Narc, which was a fantastic film, in 2002. John Q, 2002. Revolver, 2005. Smoking Aces, 2006. B-Movie, 2007. Wanderlust, 2012. Killing Them Softly, 2012. The Iceman, 2012. Sin City, 2014. Never mind all of the TV shows he's been on, and et cetera. Now, what I find interesting, and I think the three best films that he ever did in his whole entire life, Field of Dreams was probably the best movie he's ever done. I think Goodfellas and Copland are right there too. But realistically, not that I'm any judge of, Narc. Narc is the movie I'm talking about. Miss Can't Be Wrong. One of the best movies I think I've ever seen him in. I mean, where he just, I can't explain it. Copland is one of my favorite movies. A lot of people don't like Copland, but I think Ray Liotta played that very close to the vest. It was believable. It was realistic. And that, I think, is one of his best roles. I think the second best role he ever had, or at least my favorite role, would surprise you because it's not Goodfellas. My favorite role that he ever played in, that he ever played in, was Blow. And I know he was a bit part. He played a father, but to me, that was like his abilities and his talent on display. Not that I'm saying playing a junkie cop is an easy thing to do, but he played a father who was trying to do the best for his son and trying to be a friend, but trying to guide. And I think that was the best role he ever did. I really do. He was a great actor, and it's a shame because I really think that he's one of the better character actors in the last 25 years. And I don't think we had seen the best of him yet either. I really don't. And it's a shame. You guys, Narc is fantastic. Him and Jason Patrick together, holy crap. Just unreal. He was funny in an Observe and Report. He was. Copland was fantastic. A lot of people hate that film because they don't like Sly Stallone, but that is a great film. And Stallone touched on something that storyline is very close to reality in many ways. It's a great story. Great story. Yeah, yes. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Michael Rappaport hasn't really done shit since then. But Ray Liotta was one of a kind. He was believable in about everything he did. But a lot of his roles, like a lot of actors, they kind of get typecast and they kind of get stuck in a certain situation. Uh, but Unlawful Entry, he was fucking fantastic in. But I think he could have really done anything. And it's a shame because once actors start to hit 67, 68, 69, a lot of the action type of roles start to decline. And then they get into really more the crux of emotional things. And I think it would have been really interesting to see Ray Liotta do something that nobody would. He could do comedy, he could do serious, but I would have loved to have seen him in like a period piece, be it the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, something that didn't have to do with organized crime, because those are the guys that are really good. I recently saw a Jimmy Gandolfini movie. And I forgot the name of it, but it takes place on the Jersey Shore, and there's like an amusement park, and there's this girl, he kind of has a thing for, and her kid. And I forgot for the life of me what the hell the name was, but I watched this film, and it was just from beginning to end beautiful. It was a great film. It had everything. And those are the type of films I like. I mean, anybody, we can all go out and watch a gangster film or whatever, but I like films that have heart and have a storyline you might not expect. But I cannot remember for the life of me what the name of that film was. Do you think Raymond Raimondi? He's a nobody. He's a zero. This is a guy that is fraudulent in everything that he says. It was not Meyer Lansky's idea. It wasn't. It was not his idea. It was actually Tommy D. Simone's idea that came from him, from two people that owed money to him. So that's the truth there. Hey, what's up? Yeah, rest in peace, Ray Liotta. Great actor. Great actor. Yep, absolutely true. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic actor. I mean, it's very often, or not very often, when actors, pass away or anything, that I really feel anything. I mean, it sucks because you love the films, you love the entertainment, but I think some of the ones that losing Jimmy Gandolfini was just awful, horrible. Great actor, great guy. John Ritter was another one that one hurt. That one hurt because I grew up, watching Three's Company and Problem Child and all of that, and he was just another one of the good guys. It's very seldom that somebody is truly like a good person in general, because Hollywood has all kinds of fucking nut jobs, but those are the types of guys that you miss because you're never going to be entertained. John Candy, another one. But some of these other fuckers can go, but yeah, Ray Liotta was definitely one of a kind. And I don't think we saw his best work, but it just goes to show you never know. Hello, Dana. How are you? So what do you guys want to talk about tonight? Do you guys have anything you want to discuss? Love the Gravanos many wise. Listen, and Rayism, if you think that those are the only ones I got, I have a whole fleet of them. Is Pink Veal still in here? Or did he take off? Is he still in here pounding? So I had some problems. I'm just going to be Robin Williams, another one. So I had a problem with some of my wrenches, guys. People were blocking people that I'm friends with in here. I don't understand why. I went back and looked at the chat, and whoever is doing it is, in fact, doing it after the live. They're not doing it during the show. So I deleted a ton of wrenches. So that's why I did it. It has nothing to do with anybody personally. It's just, I'm going to start giving wrenches back again, but it's fucked up. So, 7 likes. Well, listen, Jesse, people just don't, they don't want to hit the like button. I don't live, work, or die with likes. If they don't like it, they don't like it. No. Well, first, yes, according to reports, yes, that is true. 6.5 years. And that's a guy who should shut his fucking mouth. Because he doesn't, he's a troublemaker, that guy. But that is according to what I know to be the case. Effectively, sentencing would be September 2nd, I believe. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Peter the Drop was a good Gandolfini. Okay, let's see. Have you seen My Blue Heaven, Steve Martin? Yeah, that's a great movie. Because she could melt all the stuff. But you already have a wife. So what? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but they, you know what? The thing is, they don't nearly go after me as much. But I gave a lot of people, I think, wrenches I probably shouldn't have, and I'm just gonna, whoever's a wrench now is just gonna stay a wrench, and if anybody gets bent out of a shape about not being a wrench, then I don't know what to tell you. It's not like you're getting a paycheck. You know what I mean? Is there a way not to show the chat after the? Yep, absolutely. You can disable the chat completely. It's an option. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, let's see. Let me open up this really quick. Let me go here. Can you talk about the absolute stupidity of some people associated with Cosa Nostra? 3 come to mind. Linda Scarpa's limo driver when she was 16, and the driver made the moves on her. Didn't the driver realize who her father was? Connie Castellano's husband. Didn't this guy know who Connie's father was? Neil Delacroce's daughter's boyfriend. The guy had no idea who her father was. Well, yeah, people do stupid shit. And I think sometimes it almost works in reverse, Jim, is because I think because they're dating them, they feel safe. I think it's sort of the opposite effect. The, if you're dating somebody whose father's a tough guy, you got to be on your best behavior. But I think people get sloppy, and I think people get a little emboldened. Well, I get along with him, so he won't listen to what she says, and it has consequences. It has big consequences for people. So, I love the content. You're best at what you do. I enjoy all your podcasts. When will the Gotti versus Gravano documentary be released? Well, that's the thing. I watched it back with 3 or 4 people the other day, and there seems to be some sort of glitch because I did some voiceover stuff in it. So I've got to go back and try to fix all that. That's the only delay. Originally, I was going to have a lot of content creators on, but I decided against that because I just think for the purpose of what I'm trying to do, my opinion doesn't matter. Their opinions wouldn't matter. It's really going to come down to what are the facts. And everything that I have is factual. It's not my opinion. I give my opinion throughout it. However, at the end of the day, and I tell this to everybody, my opinion at the end of the day doesn't matter. I'll give you side A, I'll give you side B, and it's up to you guys to decide. And then that's my thing. Somebody actually sent me a nasty gram just recently. Says, how dare you say that about people that listen to Gravano? They're the same ilk. Well, he killed a child. So if you're glorifying someone who killed a child, that kind of makes you a piece of shit too. Sorry, this is just how I see it. How can you glorify somebody that does that? What, are you going to glorify a rapist too? You're going to glorify whatever. So yeah, that's my stance. Now, if you listen just because it's entertaining, that's one thing. But if you understand the ramifications of what this guy did with his life, that, be honest with you, that's not somebody to look up to. You know what I mean? I didn't marry under my real name. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Well, and that's kind of the way we do things around here. You know what I mean? I'm just a little more strict than everybody else. Because I just don't like it. They want to, try to drag me into stuff, but hey, what's up, Johnny? How are you? But I'm not going to get pulled into the nonsense. So my grandmother, you guys want to hear a crazy story? So my grandmother work for Gaspari Messina, who was the real first recognized boss of organized crime in Rhode Island. My grandmother, because my grandmother's originally born in Italy and then moved to Easton, Pennsylvania when she was very young, and then she migrated to Providence. That's just sort of how that worked. And my grandmother in those days, I'm not saying this is going to sound like a horrible sexist thing, but in those days, a lot of women weren't driving. My grandmother knew how to drive stick shift. So, excuse me, she ended up going to work for him. And one of the things that she did was she would drive from Providence to New York to drop off illegal liquor. She would go and pick up, she would drop off, she would bring things back. And the reason why they allowed her to do that was because she was a female, and they knew that chances were cops weren't going to pull over a female driving a little box truck. So she did that, and then she met my grandfather, and rest is kind of history. But yep, that's how she got her start. Definitely. She used to go into the Stop and Shop in Providence, and she would, and the weird thing is my grandmother would go there all the time. Whenever she was watching me for the day, I like to eat chicken noodle soup out of the can, and she would go down there and she would get the 2 cans, or whatever. But for whatever reason, I don't know why this happened, but she would go in there and try to argue and barter with the checkout person. So she would go in there and she would say, all right, here's 2 cans. Let's say it's 68 cents, whatever. She would swear that the week prior, she only paid 20 cents. And they would look at her like she was crazy. And they would be like, ma'am, it's this. Well, I'm not paying that. And eventually a manager would get involved. And my grandmother, who played it to a T, would look up at the manager. Do you know who my husband is? Yes, I do. Do you want him to come down here? No, I don't. Just go ahead and take the cans. Just take them. Get the fuck out of my store. She did that all the time. She did it all the time. She's crazy lady. She didn't fuck around. Only to save 30 cents. Like, really, is that the extent? But yeah, that's the way she was. My grandmother used to run numbers for the old guys way back when. She even hid one of them in her house. Oh yeah. I mean, listen, so I'll tell you a story. So when my grandfather died, believe it or not, we were out of town at the time. We came back to Providence, and I remember going in and I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. So I'm going to go sit in the basement. Now in Providence, all cellars, all basements are the same. I don't know if they all have kitchens, but my grandfather had a wine cellar down there, and he had a full scale kitchen. And my grandfather was very much into swag. So when you went into the basement, if you needed shoes, you needed a shirt, you needed a tie, you needed a suit. I mean, it was wall to wall swag. It was always like that. And so I remember playing around, and I was goofing around in the wine cellar, and there's this big cardboard box. I mean, we're talking like huge. So I'm dicking around, throwing marbles, doing whatever. And I throw a marble, it hits the top of this box and goes in. Well, I got to retrieve the marble. So I open the box, and I shit you not, probably from my waist to from my waist to my feet was nothing but cash rubber banded. Okay. Next to that box was another box, and it said Christmas, charity, and birthdays. And I lifted the top of that box, same thing, from waist to feet, cash. So immediately I go upstairs. I tell my uncle, I said, I just found like a box on it. You leave the fucking box alone. So, yep. You ever heard of hiding money in the mattresses? There you go. There you go. My grandfather's parents owned a bar in Nepa and got booze from John Legs Diamond during Prohibition. You do great documentaries. You have great speaking voice, and you enunciate your words properly and get to the point. Yeah, I mean, listen, I could sit here and do a documentary and just go down winding roads, and I kind of do that on my podcast a little bit, but I just try to get to the point because I want to be able to tell you something different that nobody's ever told you. Yes, I am 100% certifiable, 100%. Let's see. However, I will say this: the most prolific is passed away, but there are some others, absolutely. And I got a lot of friends. Let's see. When I was a kid, we had something at school where you would bring in labels from the canned soup. At one time, I removed all the labels and never thought that you would know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I did something similar to that too. The fuck? I thought this was tomato soup. What the fuck is this alphabet shit? My father used to go crazy. My father ate tomato sandwiches and tomato sandwiches and tomato soup. Can't get any more white than that, to be honest with you. The page show you put out each week is excellent. Great job. Oh, no, I appreciate it, Boardwalk Guy. You're a good dude. I know who you are. You can try to have your fake name, but I know who you are. You're a good dude. You're a good friend. No, I don't. I really don't know. I think they've looked for a long time. But I'm not, they originally thought that it was inside of Jimmy Burke's kitchen, but that's where the murder I think was done, but I don't know where they might have put him. Ooh. You know what? That's an answer I don't know. I don't think I've ever asked him that, and I don't think we would ever have that conversation. But I think that the situation would have dictated this. When you have somebody, and let's break it down so it's very easy to comprehend. Okay, you take a guy like Angelo Bruno. Really, the only soft part about Angelo Bruno was the fact that he wouldn't let a guy sell drugs, but he would take a kickback from the Jersey, from the Cherry Hill Gambinos. Okay, so you're telling your men they can't earn, because at the time meth was a big thing and there was a lot of money to be made doing it, and guys wanted to do it. Angelo says, no, you're not going to do that. That's not what we're doing. Meanwhile, he's taking huge kickbacks from the Gambino crime family in Cherry Hill. Okay, so they move against him. Then you bring in Testa. The heat was still there with Testa. Nikki Scarfo could have taken the reins then, but he deferred to Testa, which would have been the right political thing to do. But I also think Nikki Scarfo knew that the pressure cooker was still going. Okay, then he gets killed in a fucking nail bomb. Then Nikki Scarfo comes in and everything fucking changes. So whereas Angelo Bruno might let the Riccobanis do their thing, take a little piece, but not really enforce anything, Scarfo was different. Scarfo was like a version of John Gotti, just a bit more amplified and a lot more psychotic. And so I think when you have guys on the streets, and I'm not validating a rat, I'm not giving a rat any excuse, but when you have somebody that is so fucking out of their mind crazy and will kill people he killed a horse, pushed a horse off a fucking cliff. But when you have somebody that's that unstable, that they're walking on eggshells around you and they don't know how you're going to react to this and that. So on one hand, we can understand this, okay? We can understand if you're going to be a boss, you're going to be aggressive. You do this, I'm going to fucking kill you. The rules are there. Everybody understands the game. But I think there were times where Nikki just did shit out of reaction and anger. And when you have that problem, now what you have is sort of an unsettled bunch of guys around you. And so you start thinking to yourself, well, fuck, if I don't do what he says, he's going to kill me. But even if I do what he says, he might kill me anyway. And so guys begin to get frantic and they don't know what to do. And then they fear him. The smartest thing those guys could have really done is just kill him. Just fucking execute him. Had they done that, it would have taken away a lot of the problems, but it would have been major heat. So back to your question, did he have respect? Probably not a whole lot of it, to be honest with you. I don't think a lot of guys did. I think some guys feared him, but I think a lot of guys thought that he was just too fucking nuts, just too fucking insane. You look at historically at New York, the bosses that were the most fucking insane, what did the New York mob, how did they deal with them? They either killed them or they shelved them or they found a way to move them out of the way. So I think in general, I mean, it's a tough question because I don't know what he would say, but I would imagine that not a lot of people may have had respect to him for him out of tradition, but probably not because of the way he acted. I mean, and picture it this, all of you have jobs and go to work and stuff. Picture you coming into work every day, never knowing if you were going to get fired or not. You ever had a job where a motherfucking prick says, well, everybody's replaceable? Those are the people I want to punch in the fucking mouth because they're not valuing you as an employee and they're not giving you any incentive to go the extra mile to make the company wealthy. So imagine you have a mob boss like that. Well, you're replaceable. I could kill you tomorrow. the stability that Philadelphia needed in those days, there was none. And then when they sent Stanford there, forget about it. Stanford got what was coming to him. And that's just the bottom line. You know, he didn't realize that, we just came off the Nikki Scarfo era. I'm going to try to be just like Carlo Gambino with a little Nikki Scarfo. And that's not going to work in South Philly. It's just not. And so I hope I answered your question, Terrell. I'm not sure if I did. But I think the reality is a lot of people feared him with good reason. But he was horrible for Philadelphia. Horrible for Philadelphia. Let me click on this. Sal Testa he killed was nothing but loyal to him. Won the record. Well, and that's sort of the thing. A lot of people talk about the historical inferences of what happened to Salvi Testa. The idea is that Nikki Scarfo somehow got it in his mind that Salvi Testa was gaining power, didn't want that. I have a tendency to believe that that's part of it, but I have a bigger tendency to believe that Philly Anetti is the one who wanted him the fuck out of the way and would put shit in Nikki's head. Because if you can put shit in somebody's ear that's a fucking psychopath and then just stand back and watch as it happens, streets are a dangerous business. You know, that's the truth. Most really respected out of fear. No, absolutely. Absolutely. You're not going to sit next to a guy who you know is going to kill you at a moment's notice. You know, it's I don't know. Look who came out of hiding. Frank Matthews. There's a guy on YouTube, Rob Rosso. He said Joey Testa ratted him out and put a restraining order on him, said that he had a plot to kill the Chin. No, Persico. First of all, he didn't know Carmine Persico because he never did time with Carmine Persico. I can tell you that for a fact. Joey Testa has been in Allenwood for the last 15 years. Anthony Center has been in Allenwood the last 15 years. Prior to that, Anthony Center was in Lompoc. To my knowledge, this guy never did a day in Lompoc. The last 15 years of Carmine Persico's life, he was living in a medical ward in Butner, Carolina, North Carolina. I don't know this person. I've heard the stories, but he definitely didn't know Carmine Persico, and I don't believe any of those things that are being said. I can almost certifiably tell you for a fact that none of those things are true. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. Let's see. He makes his maid guys are all wimps in his stories. Well, I mean, it is what it is. First of all, explain to me, if you know what he is. Did he say he did? He either did federal or state crimes. And I don't know what his name. Hold on. You know what? Let me just do this because this will clear this up. Let me just give me 1 second, guys. I need to go back up. I got to find it. What did you say his name was? Okay, let me look up something really quick, guys. Just stand by for 1 second. Because this is going to tell you everything right now. This is a guy that has stories, right? Hold on 1 second. If my phone. Let's see. All right. I'll go there. We will go here. Okay, well, he did federal time, but it doesn't say where. So, and he was released on 4/13/2021, if this is the same guy. But do I think he did time with all those guys? No, I don't. But to each his own. You know what I mean? People can say whatever they want. You know, and let me just paraphrase this by saying that anybody who needs to name drop 20 other fucking people is nobody themselves. And that's just being honest. That's anybody who needs to tell you about everybody they know and can't provide any facts about themselves. That should tell you something right there. Well, here's the problem. It's done, but there's a lot of stuff that I just can't say, you know, just because either out of respect for people, I'm not really interested in writing about the history of organized crime. I would rather do stuff like events where, you know, people people pay a bunch of money, come in, have a nice dinner, and we talk organized crime, like in a nice setting. I would rather do something like that. I think that would be a lot more fun, to be honest. He was in Lewisburg. Is that what he said? Well, then I can tell you for a fact that he doesn't know those guys, because Joey Testa and Anthony Center are not. Joey Testa was in Lewisburg, but Anthony Center wasn't. He's in Allenwood. So I don't know if that's the case, and he was, then those are his stories. But attacking people, you got to ask yourself that why that? You know what I mean? I hope your Memorial Day weekend is going well too, Barry, and I hope you're feeling better, buddy. I got your email. It's just been slow going, getting back. But as far as books go, I would rather do something where like people pay like $20, you get a nice dinner, and it's an intimate setting, not like a conference room, and we just talk about organized crime and stuff like that, and bring in some authors and let them talk a little bit. To me, that would be fun. Books, it's not my thing. I writing books, I have a tendency to insert my opinion way too much. But who knows? If somebody comes to me with a great idea, he said he used to watch TV with Persico and Butner. Yeah, I don't believe that. Why would he have been in a medical ward? Carmine Persico's been dead over a year. This guy just got out in 2021. I don't know if I believe that. But once again, if it is true, then all the power to him. But why is he talking badly about people? Got to ask yourself that. If you have prison stories, right? Tell your own stories. You don't need to talk about other people. But it is what it is. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But at the end of the day, if it is, doesn't affect me. And if it's not, doesn't really affect me either. I love how they come in here and say stupid shit, jerk offs. Yeah, you got a point looking for the truth. Well, and I think a lot of people like to enhance what they've done. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people like to talk and invent things. And listen, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. I cover what I cover. I do what I do. And I'm not going to knock anybody for doing their thing. But my question would be is why are you saying things about people you did time with? Like, is that what makes you relevant? Is that what makes you relevant? Or are you relevant because of who you are? And it's just, I think it's an honest question to ask. I think it's illogical. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and Chris, you're hitting on an identity right on the mark here. YouTube shock value. These guys seem to crave attention. And that's really what it boils down to. You know what I mean? It comes down to attention. And that's the thing. Like, this show is not about me. This is about the history of organized crime. It's never really been about me. But what I try to do is insert some of me so you guys are entertained a little bit. But I'm not for everybody. I am not for everybody. So do you guys have any plans for the holidays this weekend? Anything good? Anybody going to any organized crime areas? Let me look up one thing, because I knew this would fucking happen. Nope. Oh, all right. Anyway, let's see. Well, yeah, you got a lot of wrenches. DJ Vlad allows the bullshitters on his channel. Well, okay, now here's the thing with a guy like that. A guy like that and a guy like Patrick Bet David can do that because they're getting 5 million views per fucking video. I would think that Patrick Bet David vets people a lot better than DJ Vlad does. But listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I would give anything to be on any of those shows. Not just because it would avail me a bigger platform, but I would like to give the story and the narrative from the other point of view. They like to put rats on. They like to spew their nonsense. But these guys don't ask them tough questions. They don't do any background and pull up stuff and say, well, you've said repeatedly A, B, and C, but I have paperwork that says none of that's true. And I get it. If you do that, nobody's going to come on your show. And I understand that. As a matter of fact, I got an email from a huge magazine today who actually wants to interview me about some things. And it's a situation where I've got to let my attorney see it because I'm not going to validate certain things that they want to talk about. That's just not what I do. But if this certain big name magazine is going to let me give the other narrative, the other side of the story, then I'll 100% do it without hesitation. I will do it. But I'm not going to validate names of people. I'm not going to validate situations, but if they're going to let me tell the other side of the story, you goddamn right, I will do it. But I think it just comes down to what I do. People don't want to hear. Yeah, they want to hear the stories, but they don't want to hear my narrative. And I get it. I'm not for everybody, but I would love to give the other side of that story. I would love for somebody like Patrick Bet David to say, okay, you cover organized crime. You were related to this person. You grew up around this. What does the other side of the coin look like? What does it look like when your family gets attacked by the FBI? What is it like when your friends get arrested? What is the procedure of what happens to family members when this happens? How do the kids feel? What kind of emotional upheaval does this, but nobody ever asks that. Nobody ever asks that. And that's what I want to talk about, the other side of the coin. Because let's just be honest, and I don't mean this as disparaging to anybody, but how many guys left the life, got out of prison, said, you know what, it's not for me, worked their asses off and became successful businessmen? Moderators, there's other people that have done this. They've left the life and said, you know what, I'm going to do this now. And they become huge successes. Nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to indemnify Italians and say, well, because he did X, Y, and Z 15 years ago, he's still doing it now. You know what I mean? And I think that there needs to be a different kind of dialogue. And I hear it all the time. I hear people say, oh, gangsters are nothing but bad people. You can't tell me that because I grew up in neighborhoods where they took care of people. I've seen it firsthand. I know what my grandfather did. And I'll give you an example. Okay. And just because you do good deeds doesn't mean that the bad ones are forgotten. There was a neighbor who was very young, was in his 20s, just got married. His girlfriend was pregnant. He was a roofer. He fell off a roof and he broke his fucking neck. Paraplegic immediately. What does my grandfather do? He tells his people, go to the house, install ramps, install anything that this guy needs. Luckily, he wasn't a total paraplegic. It was like from the waist down. At first, they thought he was like totally forget about it, but they installed ramps. They installed handrails. They took care of the wife. They made sure their bills were paid for a year and a half in advance. They took care of the hospital bills. My grandfather didn't need to do that. There was no reason for him to help anybody other than the kindness of his heart. So don't fucking tell me that all mob people are evil and bad and do horrible shit, because it's not true. It's not true. And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you this too, is God is my witness. And I hate to bring religion into this, even though I'm Catholic. Hold it against me if you want. How do you know when someone is living for the last 5 minutes, their life is going to end in 5 minutes? How do you know they haven't repented for everything that they did? They haven't made amends with God or whoever they need to. It doesn't justify or forgive, but how do you know what was in their heart the last few minutes they were alive? You don't know that. So you can't judge them. It's easy for people to judge. It really is. It really is. They took care of my whole entire neighborhood. I see guys today taking care of the neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And I guess it just depends on who you are and how you see things. You know what I mean? But from where I'm at, they do bad things and good things. But they took care of the neighborhood, and Providence was clean when the mob ran. Ask anybody. When the mob was fully in control, and I mean owned everything, you couldn't throw a piece of fucking trash on Federal Hill. You couldn't insult a woman on Federal Hill. Now, forget it. It's different. It's a different time period. Different era. But I'm not saying everybody that's involved is a saint, but I'm not saying that everybody involved is a fucking horrible person either. People forget all the time. If you're loan sharking, somebody comes to you for fucking money. You don't go to them, they come to you. They know the risks. They don't want to pay. They know the fucking result of that. So I don't feel bad for people when that happens. Why would I? No, I don't either. I don't like that term either. I call them gentlemen. You know, but that's just my hey Donnie, how you doing, pal? That's just my opinion. And I don't expect everybody to have that same opinion, but I grew up around these people all my life. Some of them were psychopaths. I'm not going to lie to you. Majority weren't. And here's the thing, right? You hear all the time, oh, they kill people, this, that, and the third. But don't you realize that walking out that door every day, they could be the ones that were victimized and killed? The streets has its own playground. The streets has its own code. The streets will deal with how the streets deal with shit. They victimize each other. They don't hurt innocent people. They victimize each other. So for everybody that says, well, yeah, he killed X, Y, and Z. Yeah, but he could have gone out Wednesday and gotten killed himself. What they don't understand is the mob is like its own government. It's the same way as any other government. If you have good people at the top, it'll be good. And if you got some psychos, it goes back 100%. 100%. You know what I mean? And that's just my point. Like, I can understand an outsider's point of view on that. Sure, you can have the moral ambiguity enough to say what you want, but that's not been my experience. What if Hitler repented on his deathbed? One of the reasons I gave up on religion. Well, I don't know. I have no clue. We have our daughter and grandchildren in town for the holiday. Wanted to drop in support and say hello to all. Well, hello to you. I hope you enjoyed the beach. I saw the photos. You also never heard of girls and women getting abused or molested in mob areas? Never. Thank you, Chris. In my neighborhood, where I'm from, in Providence, okay, if you talked back to a woman, they would beat the piss out of you. You didn't rob in the neighborhood. You didn't steal in the neighborhood. And guess what? They didn't sell fucking drugs in the neighborhood either. That's a fucking fact. Did they sell drugs? Of course. But they didn't shit where they ate. They didn't want that in their neighborhood. And yeah, is there some hypocrisy morally about that? Sure, if you want to say so. Let me give you another reference point, and I've said it before. When all of the fucking people were going fucking ape shit, tearing down statues and going crazy and busting and looting in Philadelphia and everywhere else, guess where they didn't do that? South Philadelphia. Do you want to know why? Because the boys protected the neighborhood. You're not going to come in here and start that nonsense and bullshit. We'll put armed motherfuckers on every corner. And that's exactly what they did. I remember talking to somebody who is alleged, according to the FBI, to be a hierarchical guy. And he told me, he said, they're not coming here. We got it on lockdown. They're not coming in this neighborhood. There you go. There you go. So there's a lot to be said about that. They keep people safe. And they have. Now, is it that way totally today? No, of course not. It's a bygone area. Or a bygone era. And he's right. Back in the old days, people couldn't get money from banks for whatever the reason. And they would go down and they would get a loan from the guy in the corner who looked out for the neighborhood people. Does that mean if he didn't get paid, he broke their head open every time? No. Look what Al Capone did during Prohibition. Made sure 3 times a day, everybody got coffee, something to eat, and dinner out of his own pocket. He didn't have to do that. The government sure as fuck wasn't willing to help them, but he made sure. And in most cases, he knew people were coming back for seconds and thirds, and he didn't care. As long as they waited their turn, he didn't care. Now, you might say, well, that's because he was a criminal and he was just trying to gain favor. Bullshit. The government wasn't going to do it. The city wasn't going to fucking do it. Want to go back to 1990s with Joey Merlino giving away turkeys? Okay, sure. You can have an argument and say, well, he did it for the attention. He wants the good press. The city wasn't fucking doing it. The city didn't give a fuck about the lower communities. They didn't give a fuck. He did. And listen, people can tell me all day long, people posture, he gave away Christmas toys to thousands of kids. How is giving toys to your community going to keep you out of jail? It's fucking not. Last time I checked, you're still going to get indicted if you give away $10,000 to charity and you don't. People do things because they're inherently good. And that's why I always get pissed when I hear that other side of it. Because it's not accurate. Dangerous people, 100%. Criminals, 100%. You know what I mean? But it's like everybody always thinks that everybody's involved in organized crime has killed 50 people. Not everybody's like that. So from where I come from, I didn't look at them as bad people. I wasn't told they were bad people. The only thing that ever I think was said to me was just be careful. Because they knew, but they weren't going to tell me. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's accurate at all. Yeah, he used to throw Fourth of July parties. Never mind the thousands of dollars that saw their way into like children's hospitals. Things he did that people would never know about because he did it on the sly. He didn't want the public adulation. And yeah, there's going to be the moralistic people that are going to come in and say, well, yeah, but they made all their money victimizing others. Not necessarily. How many do we have? 91. If I told 75 of you, hey, listen, not for nothing. I got a little thing. You can make some money on the side. You know, low risk. Majority of you would do it tomorrow. Where do I sign up? Then there are some people that would under no circumstances do that. And I get it. But majority of people would. People love free shit. Let's just be honest. How many of you in this room could say, if you're walking down the street and you see a duffel bag in the forest, maybe it's just adjacent to the road, you see a duffel bag, you open it up and there's $500,000 in cash. How many of you are actually going to go to the police station and turn that shit in? How many of you would really turn that shit in? I'll wait, because I don't think there's anybody in here other than the cop. And maybe not. He's not a cop anymore, so he might. Nobody would turn that in. If it's a wallet, different. Okay. If it ain't got an address or nothing, well, guess what? Going for a ride with me. Not a single fucking person would throw that money to the side. You might sweat it out and shit yourself in panic over getting caught. That would be your guilty in your morality kicking in. But most of us, fuck no, I'm going to Florida. You know what I mean? So it's you're right. Nothing in this world is free, because the minute you take that money, Miss Can't Be Wrong, guess what? Your guilt's going to eat you alive. Oh my God, is this drug dealer money? Are they going to find out where I live? Am I putting my kids in danger? Am I putting my grandkids in danger? Absolutely. So it's not free. It's not free. But so many people, who don't have anything sometimes need something, Finders keepers. There you go. Fuck no, I ain't giving that shit back. Right. See, there you go. I'm honest to a fault, but I take the money and run fast. There is a difference between finding money on the street and walking into a bank with a 38. You know what I mean? Not many people would walk away from that. And there's maybe one or two, Let's see. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. I would, but only because it's my luck it's marked money. Well, you got to look for the blue paint. You got to look for the pencil marks. Just saying. But no, I mean, that's just, so the only reason why I brought that up to all of you is because we're all inherently designed with flaws. We're all inherently, we all want to think we're better than that. We all want to think we wouldn't do stuff. But the human condition is such that you will do anything. Like we talk about murder. I say this all the time to people, is that I lost my train of thought because I saw a comment. Hold on, sorry. Most of us would love to think we would never murder somebody, but given the right situations, the right predicament, we would. We're animals at the end of the day. Just because we're considered humans and we can drive cars doesn't mean we're any better than like animals in the jungle. So we're all capable of it. It's just circumstance and time. So who the fuck am I to judge anybody? Let's see. I am not going to talk about that stuff in Texas. It's too political and it's just disgusting and I don't know enough about it. I just know that I don't want to talk about it because it's horrific and it makes me sick to my stomach. Let's see. How you doing, my friend? Glad you're on. I love the show. Been a fan for about 2 years now. Love the raw, real, uncut stories. Well, that's what I try to do. Not many other people can give you real stories. They can regurgitate them, but they can't give you real ones. Mob Entertainment Group. I'm not that lucky. Is he in here? Because I don't see him. Did somebody block him? I didn't see him. Huh. Well, it's just reality. I mean, you have to just be honest with yourself. Everybody here took a pen from work, right? All right. So you can't say you never stole nothing. Let's see. I don't see him at all in the chat. That's weird. That's JC, right? He's not coming up in my chat at all. That's why when you guys are talking to him, I'm like, what? He's in here? Yeah, I can literally, if I showed you my screen, I can literally not see him in here at all. I cannot see him in here at all. Chris, you just said a million things. In the old days, Sicily was governed better by Cosa Nostra than the actual federal government in northern Italy. No, you're right. Let's see. Back when my father was alive, a man talked shit to me. I told my daddy, yeah, that's how it was. That was the biggest scary fucking thing when you were a kid. If you got into it with some girl, I'm going to tell my father. You were fucking done. There's not a lot of, I can't see him at all. I swear to God. No. Yeah, no, I can't see him at all in here. And I know he's not blocked on my end because otherwise he wouldn't be able to come in here. That's so weird. This has been happening a lot where people will tell me that they're blocked and I can't. It's so weird. No, I don't see him, but I mean, if you guys are seeing him, that's just so fucking weird. I don't even know how to change that. But anyway, welcome to the show, JC, anyway. So I don't know. It is what it is. I just, I try to do what I do. I try to stay out of the riffraff and the nonsense. I think, the world's a much happier place, when you're not doing that, but it is what it is. So is there any topics you guys want to talk about? JC, do you have MTR blocked? That might be what it is. But then again, if he blocked me, I don't even know if he would be able to come in here. That's so fucking weird. But this happens all the time. People go, why'd you block me? It's like, I didn't block you. And then I'll check to see if like one of the wrenches did it. And they're not blocked at all. And then sometimes somebody will get blocked and then I'll hit the unblock button and they still can't come in. So I don't know if it's something to do with the YouTube thing or whatever. I'm not really sure. Oh my God. Yeah. That's one of my favorite movies ever. And that's one of the most ironic movies ever because it really shows in reality what that life is like and how there is no such thing as loyalty. But that was a fantastic movie. I hate the ending. I can't stomach the ending. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I heard that from multiple people, but I really don't know. Nor do I give a fuck, to be perfectly honest with you. Some people don't learn. Let's see. Jeff, go to 831 Mob Entertainment Group right under Miss Campy Wrong. No, Chris, I'm not seeing him in here at all. I'm not seeing him at all. 831. That's 10 minutes ago. I'm going to go back up and see if I can see him. Hold on a second. No, he's not in here. So I have no idea what that's about. That's some cloak and dagger shit, JC. I did. I found a backpack with 350K on a bathroom stall. I turned it and got major chew. Well, that's a situation where you have to wonder, is it placed there for a surreptitious reason? And do I really want to be seen leaving a bathroom in a mall or something with that backpack? Because you don't know if there's like some sting going on or whatever. So I don't blame you in that point. I saw a video of him saying parole said he could cut off his monitor. Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's not entirely true. That you don't know how old that video is, and honestly, I don't really know. And I think whatever he's got going on in his life, let him deal with it. It's I could care less. You know what I mean? I don't think he gives a shit about what I do, and some things are just none of my business, and I just leave it at that. He's been blocked. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have time right now to go in and kind of look for it, but he shouldn't be. Hold on, guys. Let me go in and look really quick. Sorry about this. I don't like to do these things while I'm doing a live, but I'm going to go in and check real quick just to see what the hell the deal is. Give me 1 second, guys. What do I have to look for here? Okay, let's go to community. Oh, look, somebody blocked. See, and this is what I'm talking about. Oh, Jesus. You know what I just did, guys? I just threw out, I just X'd out a moderator. I'm sorry. Jesus, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. All right, let me go through this really quick, guys. It'll just take me a second. I don't have that many people blocked. Mob Entertainment Group. Let's see. Give me just a second, guys. Oh, God, show 184 more. Oh, Christ. Let me go through here. Mob Entertainment Group. No. Let's see. Yo Mama. Okay. Don't know who that is. Mob Talk Writers Room. Nope. 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 I'm almost through, guys. Going through. Wow. Yeah, guys, I don't see him in here, so I don't know. I don't know what the hell that's all about. To be honest with you, 1 second, I'm almost through the list. Yeah, he's not blocked at all on my end. So I have no idea. I probably just took somebody's wrench away by accident. I'll have to fix that. But yeah, I don't see him in there at all. I had to toss a few, but when you see the names, you'll know. Yeah, no, I saw the ones you tossed, but no, I can't see him. So he might have me blocked, but I don't know how this works. Okay, Chris. I can't see him. I can't see him at all. The only other thing I can do, guys, let me do one other thing real quick to see if I'm going to jump into the live and mute it and see if I can see him on the actual YouTube thing itself. No, I don't see him at all, guys. So I have no fucking idea. Yeah, he is here. Like, I can't see him. So he's hidden for whatever reason. JC being a little sketchy. But no, I really don't know what that's all about. But it's not on my end. It's not on my end. Oh, thank you, porn gods. Keep putting in porn stuff. The nice thing about when they do that is I get their ISP and I can find out who it is. Idiots. Anyway, I get someone I can remember a lot of times. Okay, what it is like sometimes, they're the same. That's the weird thing. Like it's not showing him blocked on anything, unless he went by an old name, and maybe that old name is blocked, but he shouldn't be because I have had no reason to ever block him. Tell a pop story, Jeff. Let's let's see. It might be a StreamYard thing, Jesse. I'm not really sure. Hayes on Witsec YouTube. Tell a pop story. Oh boy. I'm trying to think. There's so many. I told you this. Do you guys want to hear the Rocky story? You guys have probably heard that a million times. Or I could tell the Spanish doubloon story. It's up to you guys. Be nice. If you don't like them, then just, be nice. If you want to come in here and you want to be disrespectful to people, you know what? I'll handle this myself. Apparently you don't understand, douchebag, that we don't tolerate that misbehavior. If you're going to talk shit about somebody, go to them and talk it, not in my chat. Goodbye. You are a fucking joke. So yeah, I'm not going to tolerate anybody like saying nasty things about another content creator in here. I just don't do it. Other people will do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't stand for that. JC's never really done anything wrong to me. We had our disagreement at one point, but for the most part, he's always been respectful of me and nice to me. So I have no reason to allow anybody to say anything nasty about him. It's bullshit. If anybody's going to say it, I'm going to say it, not somebody I don't know. Tell the hockey coach one. This is the one where he choked out the hold on. You don't have him blocked, or yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's on my end. The doubloon story. All right, so I'll give you two. No, and he never does. He's an easygoing dude. Listen, it sounds crazy. Opinions aside, because we all have different opinions. He's the kind of guy I could sit with at the beach and listen to me very carefully. I don't smoke pot. That's not my thing. I got a medical marijuana card for arthritis and shit, but I don't. But that's the kind of guy I could sit and just shoot this shit with on a general easygoing level of, what do you think about this? And have a decent conversation, because he's not threatening. He reminds me of a lot of people I grew up with, believe it or not. Easygoing dude. Opinion aside. And the reason why I say that is because I'm sure we have differing opinions on things, but he's a good guy. I have no issue with that guy whatsoever. And I know a lot of people like to poke and prod, but I don't have any issues with him. Oh God, everybody wants the pro wrestling story from my father, the doubloon story. All right, so I'll tell a couple. Your father reminds me a lot of my father. Right on. Let me just go. JC. I love the porn people. Why would naked HD XYZ will satisfy your wishes online? Why would I need to have wishes satisfied online? Let's be realistic about it. What are you going to satisfy for me online? I don't want something that's going to satisfy me online. I want something that's going to satisfy me here. Fuck out of here with this nonsense. And I know who it is that's doing that. I know 100% who's doing it. And if they don't stop, then I'm going to tell everybody who it is. And I think it's going to shock everybody who it is that's doing it, because it's a content creator. Okay, so you guys want some pop stories? All right, so back in the old days in Providence, there was a Brinks robbery, very famous Brinks robbery. Everybody knows about it. And my father, who was not Italian, he was Irish, married into an Italian family, really was just beloved by my mother's family. And my father really kind of became Italian in the end. I would never say that when he was alive, but that's sort of how you had no choice. When you come from a large family and they're huggers and kissers, you either get used to it or you run from it. And my father really didn't have that growing up, so he got used to it and liked it. So one day, I think my grandfather had said to my father, why don't you take a run with me? And my grandfather had this old school box truck, it looks like a UPS truck, but it's much smaller. And it was gray. We used to call it the Bullet. And as a matter of fact, there was one day when I was a kid where I started the engine and put it in reverse while everybody's playing wiffle ball in the yard. I got in big trouble for that. But my grandfather says, I got to run up to the hill. I got to go talk to his father, my great grandfather, about some stuff. Why don't you take a ride with me? So they took off in the box truck, and it had the sliding door. Even to this day, when I hear the UPS door slide open, it ignites a memory in me that I love. It's like smelling wet pavement or whatever. It's like that for me. That's why when I worked for UPS when I was younger, much younger, temporarily, I just wanted to sit there and just pull that motherfucking door back and forth all day because it reminded me of my grandfather. But anyway, they were driving down Smith Street. Those from Rhode Island will know what I'm talking about. And they were heading up to Federal Hill. And my grandfather had a lead foot to begin with. And what ended up happening was he ended up, let me describe what was in the back of this truck. He had candy, swag that he would sell, just all kinds of different stuff. And it had a locked door. Above it was a little place where he would put like sunglasses, his fucking pecan, which we've talked about on my show before. Yes, he kept a pecan in all of his cars because he didn't want to stop. And my grandfather ends up taking a corner at like 40 miles an hour, and the back tire bounces off. Now, keep in mind, this is after the Brinks robbery, okay? Hits a curb, and this panel opens where he would put his sunglasses, and gold coins started falling out of the ceiling of the fucking truck like he had just won at a fucking Joker poker machine. My grandfather stopped, turned off the truck. They started putting them, they were in cigar boxes, and there was like shitty duct tape on them. That's where my grandfather kept all of his important items in cigar boxes. And so my father's helping him pick them up. And my father picks up a coin and goes, Jesus Christ, these are fucking doubloons. Where did you get these? And my grandfather just looked at him. My father goes, never mind. I don't want to know. And what he ends up doing is giving my father a coin. And my father showed me this coin probably a few months before he died. So I made sure it was buried with him. That way the secrets always remained. But he never asked where it came from. Nobody ever did. But you know how it goes. Let's see. Let me go down a little bit. Boy, the naked stuff's not going to stop, is it? Wow. Yeah, I definitely don't think this person wants me to say who they are. Oh, yeah, just keep deleting it, guys. Just keep deleting it. Just keep deleting it. Oh, well, here's the thing. I know who it is. It's the same person that does it in every room. And it sort of coincides with the nasty email I got. So I just checked the ISP of both. It matches. So I know who it is. And they should stop. That's all. Like, be an adult. Like, if you want to troll me, just troll me. Be yourself. Don't got to troll me with a fake account. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Let's see. So the wrestling story about my father, that's too long-winded of a story. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Well, the reason why they're bombarding is because they can't get their point across in other ways. But like I said, I don't care. Like, how does that reflect me? No, it's not Gene Barello. Not at all. It's a content creator. And I know who it is. So, was the Sopranos series really based on mob families in New Jersey? It partly was. It's a man, Miss Can't Be Wrong. It's a man. It was partly based on them, but not totally. Not totally. It depends on who you ask. Yeah, the raccoon story is my favorite, but that's too long of a story. I tell stories about my father on my podcast too, by the way. Let me drop that link really quick. That's the wrong fucking thing. Where's my banner? There you go. You can head over to mobtalkradioshow.supercast.com, and that's where you can find our podcast. Also, if you have any information on Anthony Persiano, please send that to me immediately at mobtalkradioshow@gmail.com. I would appreciate it. If you wish to donate, that's how you can donate. I don't ask. I don't even like having this ticker. It makes me sick to my fucking stomach. It's not about the money for me. It's about you guys having a place where you can go, where you're not attacked for your opinion, and where there's no drama. So there you go. Let's see. Why would the mob go with Kennedy when Nixon was a man that could definitely be bought? I don't know. I don't have any answer for that. I think a lot of it had to do with John F. Kennedy's father, to be honest with you. I mean, realistically, his father was a bootlegger. They were narcotics traffickers. That's publicly noted. I think it was easier by proxy to try to control the Kennedys that way because the father had control over the whole family. Nixon, who knows? I mean, I think from the perspective you're coming from, I agree with you. That would have been a better decision. But it is what it is. Oh goodness, you know, life or do a better show because, well, who knows? People don't want me to have an opinion, and most of the time I just listen. I do me, and that's it. I do me. I'm not worried about anybody else. You know what I mean? LBJ was a government. Oh hell yeah! As a matter of fact, when you look at the Kennedy thing, did you guys know that Jackie Kennedy, after they loaded JFK's body on the bottom of the plane, she walked up to LBJ and said, "Why did you have my husband killed?" Did you know she said that to him? Then she had to stand next to the prick as he was sworn in. Isn't that something? Oh, God. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I'm not sure because it's a 10-part series, 3-hour shows apiece. A lot of it's just dependent on my time. You got to understand, like, I got to have a life. I do this friggin' 6-7 days a week. I don't have a lot of time to myself. And that's something that takes a ton of stuff to do. So I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. All right. Do me a favor. Please don't come in here talking about other content creators. I don't appreciate that. That is my role, and that's why you're being blocked. I have a 0 tolerance policy. Goodbye. 0 tolerance. They said RFK did the same thing, asked, "Why did you kill my brother?" Then he got the, yeah, pretty much. Sorry if anybody is friends with that person I just threw out of here, but I'm just not going to tolerate it. They can go take that shit where they love drama. We don't do that on my show. We don't talk nasty about anybody. There's no reason for it. None. Be a gentleman or get the fuck out. Well, see, there you go. That's what I need. I need like a mountain place where there's no cell service. Well, at least enough service so I can watch TV or something. But I just want to sit, read a book, and be left the fuck alone. That's really what I want. No, Dustin, I do not have a date on the Gravano doc yet. I do not. Let's see. So yeah, I'm sure that JC test page, what's that? Not going to comment on that. I can't. I will tell you this, Vicky. Do a little tiny research. You'll find the answer to that question. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad either. I would love to be on a secluded island or even in South Philly for the weekend, but not, or even Margate. I'd love to go to Margate for the weekend, but let me tell you something. Margate is so expensive. So expensive. I would love to go there for a weekend and just, you know what? I could order out. I could do whatever. I just don't want to pay a ton of money for those hotels. It's like fucking ridiculous because for the same price, I might as well go to California. But I would love to do that. I would love to like sit around, smoke a couple of cigars, have good conversation, and just not have to do anything, not have to give an opinion on how I feel, or not have to like be worried about my friends or stuff like that. You know what I mean? See, that sounds good to me too. That sounds good to me too. You have a wonderful weekend too, Catherine. I hope it's the best. Plant Earth seems like I'm doing good, Damien. How are you? Long time no see. I had a similar issue seeing Mustache Pete on my main channel. This is back up. Oh, okay. Hey, JC, how you doing, buddy? So, guys, I'm going to go for about 10 more minutes tonight. Only because I get some satisfaction in, well, first of all, I haven't eaten any dinner yet. That's a horrible thing. Just because I wanted to make sure I got this. And I wanted to apologize to you guys for something too, because, the thing is, I plan these things. And if I'm in the wrong mood, I won't do them. I've learned from my past, and I've been at this a long time now. I've learned that if I'm in no mood to deal with anything, it is best I don't. So that has something to do with it. Sometimes I'll schedule a show and there was a hockey game on, and I'm like, oh, I'm missing the fucking hockey game, but my team's out of the playoffs. Or sometimes there's just so much drama going on YouTube that I don't even want to be on at the same time. I don't want to fight for viewers. And I don't care if I have 4 people in here or 400. Doesn't really matter to me. But I apologize because I know a lot of you wanted to watch a lot of these shows and I just canceled a lot at the last minute. And I know it's frustrating and I apologize for it. But, you know, to be honest with you, because I'm honest with you guys, it's one thing I do is you got to understand this is 7 days a week for me, 14-hour days. Sometimes I don't have a lot of time to have a normal functioning goddamn friendship with anybody. I can't get in a car and go nowhere without my phone blowing up. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear this? Oh God, this is breaking. Or, you know, I just, and when I do turn my phone off, you know, then it becomes, what the fuck? Why are you ignoring my calls? It's sometimes I need to have a break. You know what I mean? But when my friends call and they need something, I'm there anytime, day or night. You know what I mean? So it's not that I don't appreciate, I appreciate you guys like crazy. It's just that I never get an opportunity like you guys. And listen, there'll be people that will roll their eyes at this, but I think a lot of people take for granted that they can come on at, I don't know, 1:00 in the afternoon, do say whatever they want for an hour and then just go away. And that's their day. You know what I mean? Or they come on twice a day or 3 times a day or 3 times a week with little to no preparation. It's just it is what it is. But I have a podcast I do. I got a secondary podcast I do. I got indictment stuff I work on, articles I work on. Like, so it's, and then when you take the personal side of that, when somebody I know gets indicted, I take that personally because they're my friends and I know what they're capable of and what they're not. And so I get very angry and I want to fight for them. And when I can't, what ends up happening, and Chardonnay will vouch for this because she knows that I stay up late because we talk sometimes on Instagram or whatever, that I'm worried about everybody else. I don't take enough time for me. And that's sort of the problem. So then when I take these weeks off and I say, hey, I need a week off, I do it with every intention of just kind of taking a break, and I'm never able to do it. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. Bend over. Benny Diova. Oh, we have changed from bend over to Benny Diova. Ben Diova, that you? Yeah, because that looks like a fake account too. So the last couple of minutes here, guys, do you guys, no, I have not seen the linchpin of Bensonhurst. Nah, you didn't miss anything. Just shooting the shit. You know, going forward, when we start doing these things, if I start doing this twice a week, here's going to be the deal. Okay. The first one that we do will all be like organized crime and we'll have a subject and we'll talk about it. We'll chew the fat, chop it up. And then the secondary one, you guys can all come on here and say horrible things about me if you want. I don't typically bring people on my show because the last time I tried to do that, somebody showed their nutsack. So I try not to do that all the time. But I know a lot of you do want to come on and talk. So I think we're going to start doing twice a week. I'm not sure when. Don't hold me to it. But we're going to bring people on and let them say stuff. But once again, I do not have a rule about saying you have to show your face. I think it's bullshit. I think if you want to be anonymous, you're allowed to be. But the one thing you're going to have to do is show me your face in the background. Okay, get rid of that asshole. Goodbye. I don't have time for these morons. So that's what I think we'll do. No, there is not a firmer date on anything right now. It's just I've got so much going on. I barely know which fucking end is up, to be honest with you at this point. Yes, Jesse, you can insult you can insult me anytime you want. Hey, Barry, take care of yourself. If you need anything, send me a message. Anything at all, you just let me know. We'll see that you get it. Okay, buddy? Stay safe. I hope you feel better. I know it's not easy what you're going through, but anything you need, you just reach out, and we'll take care of it. Sorry, Miss Can't Be Wrong. I knew which direction that was going, and I'm like, okay, Miss Can't Be Wrong's going to bait him for the next 3 minutes till he says something dumb. Chances are the clown that dropped your balls in his StreamYard is from the UK. They have crazies that do that stuff. Yeah, that's who it was. I know who it was. And I'm just going to not be a dick and put his name out there. That's one thing I'm not going to do. But the person that keeps dropping porn, like, really get a hobby. Like, that's lame. That's lame. Yeah, Barry's a good guy. He really is. All right, any last questions before I get out of here? Because judging by my phone, I'm being accosted for not answering. And the guy texting me, I got to answer. You guys don't understand. I can't go without answering it. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, if you guys don't do anything this weekend, here's what I want you to do. Be safe. Don't drink and goddamn drive. Take an Uber. Walk if you got to. Even if it's a sideways walk. We've all done that before. But most importantly, take the time that you have with your family to enjoy it. All right, Char, take it easy. The most authentic, Goodfellas or Mean Streets. You hear my phone going off, guys? Yeah, have a good Memorial Day too, JC. Have a good time. Yeah, guys, be thankful for what you have, and I want to appreciate all of the men, the men and the women that served in the armed forces. My father served, and he loved this country, and take time to appreciate them, because a lot of this nonsense we're allowed to do is because they defend our ass, and that's reality. So, Goodfellas, best movie in my opinion. Yeah, I would agree. Anyway. Please have a great weekend. We are going to be back. Let's see. Today is Saturday. We'll be back on Monday. Come on in here on Monday, and we're going to do this all over again. But I want you guys to be prepared, because I'm dropping the link, and you guys can come on and we can chop it up. Talk about anything you want to talk about. I hope you guys at least enjoyed a little bit. Thank you for all the money that I received this evening. Please, if you do nothing else, just hit the thumb up button or send me the middle finger emoji, whatever you feel like doing. And if you are interested in joining our podcast, please head over to mobtalkradioshow.supercast.com. And next week, we're going to talk about some serious organized crime stuff. We're going to talk about Sammy Gravano's Lies Part 3 over on the paid platform. And on Monday, when we come back, we're going to invite all you guys on, and we're going to have a big organized crime contest. We're going to be giving away a free book, so come back for that. But Monday night, 7:45, we'll see everybody there. Tom, have a great night. Everybody be safe this weekend. If anybody needs anything, you know me personally, reach out. Whatever it is, I'll make sure you get. Take it easy, everybody.